Hi everyone, my name is Stephanie Newton. I practice homeopathy from right here in West Palm Beach from my home. I see clients from all around the world. And today I'm doing a series of videos regarding the emotions that many of us are experiencing during this time of quarantine. And I know that many of us have experienced all of the emotions I'm talking about. Today I'm talking about financial fears and fear of misfortune. And this has been something that I've struggled with because I am definitely being impacted. Let me show you guys what other videos I talked about, because you can get some of those links up here. Let me share my screen. There's Amazon. Okay, so the first video in this series is about homeopathic remedies that can help you with grief related to this this pandemic, this quarantine time. I also talked about in the second video, homeopathic remedies that can help with feeling isolated and alone. And some of you will be experiencing many of these emotions. You just have to kind of pick the emotion that's at the top. In the third video, I talked about fear of contamination and germs, health fears regarding this pandemic. And then in this video, I'm talking about fear of misfortune and financial loss. So, you know, right away, the first week I got a little panicky because the stock market was dropping. And, you know, I was watching my little IRA tank, which took a big hit last year because of something unrelated. And I was like, oh gosh, here we go again. And of course, if you're anywhere near my age, you may have lost a lot in the 2008 financial crisis. Yeah, my everything I saved in my 20s, not everything, but pretty much a lot of it got wiped out in that crisis, and now this. So, you know, I started to panic, and then my business started to slow down. You know, businesses can go up and down in general. And so I might just be in a slow phase. I might be, but it's definitely slower than it's been in a very, very, very long time. Maybe since like July, but July is always a slow month. That's just a typical thing. This is like super slow. So, you know, and I'm sitting here waiting for government assistance to come in, and I haven't seen, I mean, we've been on lockdown for a month now. No money has come in. So, you know, nothing. They haven't sent the stimulation check. You know, I haven't gotten a loan yet, although I just applied for that. It just became available to apply for. It's slow. And so in the meantime, it's like you're watching your bank account. You're like, okay, what do I do here? And even if this is only a few months long, is it going to take a while for people to want to spend money? You know, so it could take a long time for people like me for their business to bounce back. So it's scary. So the remedies I'm talking about today are for fear of misfortune and financial loss. And you'll see that these homeopathic remedies can help for other things too. So so basically what you're looking at here is my homeopathic software. I put in these two features in here, and it gave me a list of homeopathic remedies. Normally I'll look at like the top 5, you know, when I'm working with clients. But some of these are not available over the counter, especially here in America, where it's, you know, they're a little more strict about what they allow to be sold over the counter. And so I might not be doing, you know, the top 5 or whatever, but I'm going to be looking at the ones that I know are available. Now, okay, so let's start with Arsenicum, because this is the one that a lot of people it's sort of the go-to remedy. It's the one that us as homeopaths and people who are familiar with homeopathic remedies, it's the one that we think of a lot. I went over this one in detail in the last video for fear of germs and contamination, because it happens to be a strong remedy for both of those, the fear of financial loss and the fear of germs and contamination. Anxiety in general, sort of like perfectionism in general. But so basically, I'm just going to read a little bit here. Anxiety about health. So these are the features that this homeopathic remedy is known to help with. Anxiety about health, anxiety about other people, you know, about others' health and others' well-being. Anguish and restlessness. Anxiety unwaking from frightful dreams. Anxiety better for motion. In other words, when you stay in motion, your anxiety is a little better. So it's someone who's restless, like they're walking around trying to deal with their anxiety. Anxiety about trifles, fear of death, fear of starvation, fear of financial loss and poverty, fear of diseases, fear of getting cancer, fear of catching an infection, fear of germs and viruses, fear of being poisoned, fear of being left alone, fear of violence. So, you know, I'm just going to stop there. So you can see that this remedy can help with a lot of the fears and emotions that we are experiencing in this pandemic. So it's the one that I took a couple weeks ago when I was just starting to get a little panicky, sad, just kind of worn out from all the emotion. And I took this in a 1M potency, which is higher than what I'm going to recommend. You can find this on Amazon. Let me go to Amazon and show you guys in case you didn't see the other video. Arsenicum, oops. Getting tired, it's 10:30 at night. Okay, Arsenicum album 30C. So this is how it's spelled. I don't know if you guys can see that, but ARSENICUM, Arsenicum album 30C. I would say start with a 30C. If all of these mind, emotional, and mental features are very strong, the ones that I just listed, which I would think that for a lot of us they are, you could probably go up to a 200C. I generally recommend using the 200C potency if you are working with a homeopath, so you can be guided, because it's a higher potency. Some of these higher potencies can kind of open Pandora's box because, you know, homeopathic remedies are different. They're not like herbs and things. So here's, I'm looking for Arsenicum 200C. I don't even, maybe they don't even have it on here. But yeah, if you're someone who is familiar with Arsenicum, you've taken 200C potencies before in other remedies, you just, you know, sort of know what you're doing, then that's okay. But otherwise, if you're new to homeopathy, for sure, start with just a 30C. Okay, can't find 200C anyway. And these are going to be linked below, okay, in the description box below. Okay, what am I doing here? So that's Arsenicum. I'm going to write down the ones that we're going over, so remember to link them below. And this is for financial loss, fear of financial loss. Let's also look, you know what? I would go over calc carb, but I think I've gone over that in 2 of my videos. So if you're looking for the links to the other videos, it's going to be in one of these corners. I'll put a link to all of the other emotions that I went over. Calc carb, I'll just go over it really quick, I guess. The mind features, but I'm not going to go into depth. So calc carb, the general theme with calc carb is someone who, they're like sort of wanting to put a shell around them. They want to like protect themselves. They don't want to be like observed and looked at. They don't want germs to get in, you know. So it's like fear of germs, fear of being observed, just sort of like, you know, keeping in their own little shell. Calc carb is made from oyster shell. So that's sort of where that comes from. So rumination and worry, overworked and exhausted, worries about their responsibilities and duties. For some reason, this makes me think of our kids who are being homeschooled right now. You know, you can give these to your kids too. Anxiety with palpitations, desire to weep, suspicious, cautious, low-spirited, apathetic, depressed, melancholy, or doubting moods, hopeless of ever getting well, fear of loss of reason, fear of misfortune. Okay, that's where that comes in. Fear of contagious disease. So here's another one. If a lot of these sound the same to you, or you feel like, oh, I could take any one of these. I mean, really, I could too. You know, pick the one that sounds the most, that really like, use your intuition. Like if something's really jumping into your head, you're like, that one, that one, that one. Do that one. Do a 30C of one of these. And if that doesn't work, try a different one, another 30C. Again, these are found over the counter at Whole Foods and things like that, and Amazon, which is an easy place for you guys to order them right now. So Arsenicum, calc carb. Let's also look at, what do I want to do next? I think we'll look at Rhus tox. Some pronounce it Rhus tox. I learned Rhus tox because when I studied this homeopathic remedy, I was studying with a school in England, correspondence course, and it was always Rhus tox. So I think I pronounce it differently than other Americans. It's just, I don't know. All right. So here are the mind features of Rhus tox. Confusion, mind and senses become cloudy. Incoherent talk, answers correctly but slowly. All right, let me try to find some things that pertain to the quarantine emotions. Forgetful and can't remember most recent events. Not really, but vanishing of thoughts. Can't hold mind on one subject long enough. So it sounds like sort of a lot of like mental fog. So this remedy is known for being better for motion. So this is more on the physical level, but when, let's say you have aches and pains in your body, if you get up and move around and then you feel better, like you feel better as long as you're moving around, think of this remedy. And you can also transfer that to the mental and emotional level as well. I'm going to see if I can think of an example of that. Well, really, like anybody who just feels better, like they feel less anxious, less depressed, if they're doing something, if they're moving around, you know? So you would think of it that way. Okay, causeless weeping without knowing why. Anxious, sadness, helplessness, and profound despondency. Inclination to cry. Desire for solitude. Forsaken feeling. So almost like rejection feeling, I guess. Inexpressible anxiety with pressure at the heart. Anxiety about one's children. Ding, ding, ding. That's me all the time. Anxiety worse at twilight. With restless change of place. So in other words, like anxiety, you're changing where you are, restless, moving around. Great apprehension at night, cannot remain in bed. Mental and physical restlessness at night. Continued change of position, like, you know, restlessness at night, change of position. Anguish, as if some terrible calamity is impending. I'm sure a lot of us are feeling some of that. Superstitious fears. So maybe that's some of the conspiracy theory fears that are going around right now. Fears with sighing, fear and despair on account of sad thoughts. I've had some of that. Delirium with fear of being poisoned. Complaints from fright. Fretful, impatient, ill-humored, easily vexed, irritable at night. Okay, so some of this is discouragement and dissatisfaction. Dwells on past disagreeable occurrences. That means like if, you know, let's say you had a disagreement with somebody and you're dwelling on it. Or just something happened that's disagreeable to you and you're dwelling on it. Talks of business in sleep. Aversion to company. Oh, sorry, it's late at night for me. Delusion of being watched. So a little bit, you know, paranoia, I guess. All right, so that's that. So that would be Rhus tox. And let me pull that one up so you guys can see how it's spelled, and we'll just see if it's on Amazon. I think it is. Pretty sure, yeah, you can get this one locally for sure here in America. Rhus tox. I would recommend starting with a 30C, but here's a 200C. We'll just pull that up so you can see. So starts with Rhus, R-H-U-S, and then toxicodendron, but just Rhus tox, remember that. This is actually made from poison ivy. It's a homeopathic preparation of poison ivy. All right, so it's good for poison ivy, by the way. How many did we did 3? Let's see if there's a 4th one I would want to tell you guys about. And this is, again, fear of financial loss. Let's get out of here. Let me tell you some others here in case you are able to get them overseas, if you are overseas, not in America. And also, if you have a homeopath in America, you have more access to some of these remedies that are usually gotten overseas. So Veratrum album is one, Veratrum, V-E-R-A-T, Veratrum. Calc sulf, so that's like calc carb, but it's calc sulf. Calc fluor, Cali arsenicosum, Natrum muriaticum. I went over that one in one of the remedies, one of the videos in this series that I'm doing. Arnica, spongia, arsenicum, we did that. Aurum, conium, ignatia. So yeah, so that's it for that. So again, I practice homeopathy from my home. If you're interested in my services, see the link in the description below. If you're interested in a free ebook, learning how to use homeopathic remedies in your home for acute situations, such as physical things, such as colds and flus, you can find that in the link below as well. And go ahead and look for the rest of the videos in this series. I'm going to be recording one more tonight if I can keep these eyes open. All right. Bye, guys. Thanks for hanging out with me tonight.